Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of NPT Banking, where I will be discussing the situation of how to interpret the penalty levied on your bank by RBI if it is so. Should you get worried? So, as a case study, I am discussing the SBI case of where 1 crore penalty was levied by RBI. The problem was discussed in many other cases earlier that it is not reported in transparent clarity by the reporters, and you have to search for a little word here and there, little bit of more study, and then interpret whether it is serious or not. So recently there was a report on October 18th, 2021 that SBI has been penalized for violating rules related to fraud classification and rent reporting by commercial banks and select financial institutions. That is the cover scope where the circular must have made for commercial banks and select financial institutions. Before we go ahead, a little reminder that if you like this, kindly give me a thumbs up or subscribe. That will be much better so that you will be remaining up to date, and of course the bell icon will remind you that a new episode has been uploaded by me. The words which are important in this line of that report is violating rules related to fraud classification and reporting. So, fraud classification was not done or incorrectly done or slowly done by this bank or not reported. So, both these aspects come in, which we shall see slowly. Slowly in the sense that we are aware of the definition of fraud, but we will have to see what the Reserve Bank of India has defined fraud as. It is defined in already in a section 421 of the Penal Code and section 17 of the Indian Contract Act, and it has the essential ingredients that there must be a representation and assertion. That does not mean that in case there is an error or that some 1 crore rupees or 70 crore rupees are credited into my account by accident, I should not be accused of fraud. I have not made that assertion of doing this transaction. Therefore, this assertion and representation is a must. Then it must relate to a fact, naturally, and it should be with the knowledge that it is false or without belief that it is truth. This is the fundamental definition of fraud, that a person is representing a fact or a situation knowing it to be untrue, but he is showing it to be true. And it must induce another to act upon the assertion in question, whether or not to do a certain act. In case of a bank, the influence to the banker that I have a lot of business, a big business and requirement of funds, if I convince him, then this is that as induction of action of the banker which I am doing in a wrongful manner. So this is the fundamental of fraud. Let's see what RBI says. RBI says misappropriation and criminal breach of trust. One word and a few words here and there, a huge story lies in between, that you have misappropriated funds as a borrower or even as a customer, and criminal breach of trust. That's a huge thing, that the trust between the banker and the customer is breached. There is a element of trust even you take a dog for a walk. So naturally, with two human beings, the trust of the relation in terms of banking is there. In case, for example, the cashier accidentally gives you extra cash at the time of the withdrawal, or if the ATM also spews you more money than what you have demanded, then and you keep quiet, then this is misappropriation of trust, misappropriation of funds, and the trust is breached. Then important and very commonly understood is fraudulent encashment through fraudulent instruments, manipulation. So this all is hacking and the wrongful gaining of funds of people through cell phone usage or internet. This will be covered here also. Then unauthorized credit facility extended for reward or illegal gratification. When hand in glove, the borrower acts with the some of the bank officer and gets a credit facility not within the rules or policy of the bank and the whole environment of banking, this will be also a fraud. Although there might not be a loss, but the very fact that the credit facility which is not actually I am eligible for and I get it, that itself becomes a fraud whether or not there is a loss. Please note that. Then there is negligence and cash shortages. This is more of inefficiency over there. Cheating and forgery, that's fundamental. Irregularities in foreign exchange transactions. Whoa, that's a very deep sea ocean over there. And any other type of fraud not coming under the specific heads above. That wraps it up very nicely. So RBI requires the bank to conduct an annual review of frauds. Please note that the bank is supposed to know first that the fraud has occurred and should conduct a review annually of all the frauds that have occurred and find out and report that has the bank employed adequate system to detect the frauds. The auditor is not the only mechanism under which the bank is supposed to detect the frauds. The internal control, breach of internal control, things that don't match, accounts which don't match, these are all systems that display an error that may lead to a fraud. And has the bank acted upon these signals? This is what the first point says. Then how are the frauds examined? Who is examining? The person who is hand in glove with the borrower, is he the person who is examining? Is a third party coming in? Is an expert coming in? Has the bank got a training facility for training people to examine the frauds, or have they employed a third party expert? I have been also appointed to examine frauds and report. So that kind of a question answer is what this question is looking for. What type of action the bank has taken and how much time, if the person is found the person, guilty person is found who is responsible for the fraud. So the time element of the investigation is the answer here. Then what are the reasons of the fraud? Is it the laxity in the system, procedure, loopholes? What is it? You may remember that during in the Harshad Mehta fraud case, the letterhead of the banks where the instrument of the Reserve Bank was not transferred, the whatever the government treasury bonds were not transferred, the letter of the seller bank was used for selling. After some months or a year or something like that, it became a pseudo procedure that bankers wrongly thought they are doing the regular thing. So it is a procedure which was not authorized, and they were following it as if it is there for donkey's years and therefore it should be followed. Somebody had to stand up and say, no, this is not correct. So what are the reasons of the fraud? Then the measures taken to make sure that the procedure are followed scrupulously and the loopholes are plugged. We don't want the same thing to be followed over and over again and again. And the sixth point, whether the frauds are reported to the local police for investigation. First thing you have to do is, with a particular level of facts which of the fraud, is file an FIR, first information report, to the police, and then answer to the RBI in a summary, total number of frauds, amount involved compared to the previous 2 years. We want naturally the things to go down, not go up. Modus operandi along with their present position is the same modus operandi used. That means the loopholes which you have plugged are not plugged. The losses to the bank, as I mentioned earlier, the credit may be given to the non-credit person who is eligible, but is it a loss? It may not be a loss yet, but the losses to the bank are to be totaled here for that year. Number of cases where staff is involved and action taken against. A lot of times as auditors also we have been recommending the management to initiate an internal inquiry. That means the inquiry should be done in a professional manner and to find out whether it is laxity or it is corruption which is there. At this point I would like to remind you that the police always feel that in a bank fraud staff has to be involved, which is not always the case. time taken to detect the fraud. How long has the fraud been going on? I have developed a model of age of fraud, and that is a subject of some other presentation. Then status at the time of reporting to the RBI, what the police have done, and the punitive action taken by the bank. So here in this particular case of SBI, where 1 crore rupee penalty was levied on them, did they not realize there was a fraud and RBI inspector came and found out? Or did they not do an annual review of frauds? Because it's so big, and I don't know. They could do it region wise and zone wise and then therefore consolidate it. That's how a big bank operates. Or was it just classified as NPA and not also as fraud? Only partial work was done over here. Or it was interpreted by them, or is there an interpretation issue between the bank and the Reserve Bank of India? I remember years ago in a cocktail party, one banker was talking to the other, and I just overheard it because they don't normally talk openly with the auditors, knowing that they're auditors. That below 20,000 is considered as leakage, about 2 lakhs it is considered as major leakage, and about 20 lakhs it is considered as fraud, something of this sort. I know it was a thumb rule which even at that age possibly I did not think it is logical, but was this the case here? That is my question. So in case, I have money lying in fixed deposit with State Bank of India, should I be worried is the golden question here. Now, how do I interpret this? Because penalty by RBI over the last few months and nearly a year ranges from 1 lakh to 1 crore. So does the amount of penalty mean it is serious? So 1 crore is high. So does that mean that it is so serious and I should withdraw my deposit from there? Or is the amount linked to the size of the bank? I remember that there was a cooperative bank who was fined just 2.5 lakhs for giving loans to the directors. Now, giving loan, a cooperative bank should not give advances and loans to the directors. It's a circular which is decades old. Decades. There's a S over there. That means it is more than 10 years, roughly 20 or 25 years ago. RBI said that cooperative banks should not give loans to directors or companies in which the directors have interest and substantial influence. I mean, if the cooperative bank gives a loan to a public floated company where the director has just got 5 shares or 50 shares out of 50 lakh shares, they can give, but considerable influence is not exercised by that director. So in that sense, this was done. Now, in case the cooperative bank is still doing it, then I am worried. I mean, what is this going on? I am giving a loan to myself. So that is serious, but the 2.5 lakhs is a smaller amount compared to 1 crore here. Or is it both of the above? I mean, I'm sure there is some logic in which the Reserve Bank of India has calculated the penalty. I only hope and I wish that it is shared with people like us who deposit amounts with these banks, and they have found out some issues. So this wish list, through this media, I am trying to present to the Reserve Bank of India that possibly give some grades like this, like grade A, penalty is levied, let's say for 10 lakhs for grade A of the issue. Grade A means what? Infringement of just reporting formality. They didn't file their monthly, quarterly, half yearly, whatever returns of whatever subject, and therefore this penalty is done. Or non-adherence to instructions which were issued 5 years back, more than 5 years back. Now, non-adherence to instructions which are issued just 1 month ago, it might require some formality of policy making, some policy approval by the board, some software to be done or procedure to be designed. So, 4 weeks or 5 weeks I think is reasonable, but 5 years is not reasonable. So, a category B can be that. Or C, weak system of control. Everybody is doing his own thing. Now here the worry starts. Then D, risky lending with low recovery. They just keep on lending just to have the proper percentage, or that NPA should be below 5%. So keep on lending more. So that 5% of the lending means has increased, therefore it always remains low. So is it doing that? So or E, the worst, flexible management. They can do what the hell they want. So I don't think my money will be safe here. So this kind of interpretation grades, if RBI gives us tomorrow, that will be better, because despite my knowledge of banking and trying to interpret, or let's say misinterpret, the words used by the reporter, I may land up in the wrong, with the wrong conclusion, even making you worried unnecessarily. Therefore, this, even in this State Bank of India, what is the amount involved versus the size of the bank? Can it take the loss? All these issues they must have taken into account. If they have, and it is 1 crore, believe me, I am starting to get worried. And should I get worried? Should you get worried? Again, I have not answered the question until Reserve Bank of India gives us more information along with the penalty of what grade of issue is addressed over there. Thank you very much, friends. If you subscribe, I hope you are happy, and please give me some comments below which I can respond to. And this was also as a response to a request from my fans on the discussion on this subject. Thank you and see you again.